Wisconsin Live Desk. I am Donovan Long in for Carl Deffenbaugh this afternoon. If you're just now joining us, never been on the Wisconsin Live Desk before, this is a real-time way of disseminating information to you in terms of what's happening around our community here in southeastern Wisconsin, but also around the state and also across the nation and globally. We are following a number of things happening this morning, from what's happening with the President's Big Beautiful Bill as the Senate debates it right now, and what's happening in our own community a little closer to home with some breaking news. I want to bring in a live view of what we're seeing about this train derailment in Hartford. It looks like our crew on the ground is having an interview with police officers about what happened here. You're getting a very real-time view of the scene here. I suppose if we have audio, we can perhaps listen in onto what's happened. But this is something we are following live right now. I'll go ahead and take it full for you so that you can get a better idea of what's happening. This gentleman is speaking about this freight train derailment in Hartford. 3 people were in the locomotive when it happened around 8 o'clock this morning. No serious injuries, but we do know medics took those folks to the hospital. I'll see if there's audio. Perhaps maybe we can listen in. There may be a chance we cannot hear, but I'll try to see if we can. There we go. Let's listen in.
Approximately 50 cars in tow. What we arrived on scene to was approximately 3 train engines and 19 cars that are overturned just west of Independence Avenue. There were 3 train conductors, 3 employees of Wisconsin Southern that had walked up to the roadway that were all complaining of some type of injury. All 3 of them were transported by Hartford Fire and Rescue ambulances to Hartford Hospital for minor injuries and for further evaluation. Right now we have all of Hartford Fire and Rescue along with mutual aid from 7 different departments in Washington County helping us mitigate the leak. So there's approximately several thousand gallons of diesel fuel that have spilled into the ground. There's also a nitrous oxide tank that had crashed and the outside cracked off of, but the tank has not leaked. No leaks from that NOx tank that we are aware of. There is a remediation company on scene, Clean Harbors, that's working with us to clean up the remaining diesel fuel that spilled into the ground. And I do have contact information that you may need from Wisconsin Southern, their GM in charge of media as well. No firefighter injuries at this time, but a lot of rehab, a lot of turnover. Because it is so warm out, all of our firefighters working in turnout gear are getting a little exhausted doing the offloading, the pumping of diesel fuel, and moving bulk tanks. So that is what I have for you at time, unless you have any questions for me.
Are there any concerns about that diesel fuel and the impacts that it could have in the area?
Excellent question. So we tried to make the leak as small as possible. There is a waterway, a tributary that does lead into the Rubicon River that it looks like we are successful keeping all the diesel fuel out of that tributary. There's a small marshland that is close to that, that some of the diesel may have flowed into. We took some remediation efforts to keep it there, dug some trenches and have been pumping it out of that. Wisconsin DNR, we've been in contact trying to figure out how Clean Harbors is going to remove that from that land.
And were there any evacuations at any of the businesses nearby here?
No evacuations of personnel, no.
Can you give us an idea what's in some of the other cars? You said there's not nitrous oxide in one car. What's in the other?
Unknown exactly at this time. We understand that it's dry cold storage effectively, so no other pressurized tanks that we're aware of. So dry hoppers, anything from lumber to you name it.
Nothing like chemical.
Nothing that I'm aware of at this time, correct.
How did this happen?
We're not sure at this time. Wisconsin Southern has a incident remediation team that is coming out to determine what the cause of the crash was. We're not aware at this time.
How long does cleanup like this take? Are you going to be out here days, or what does that look like?
Good question. So as far as fire departments, we'll probably be done within another 2-hour operational period, returning everyone back home. Then it's up to Clean Harbors to determine what the final remediation will be, removing the rest of the soiled ground.
Do you know what the seriousness of the injuries are for the people on board? They were all mobile apparently and all conscious.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, all 3 were walking wounded. Using the triage category, all were categorized as greens, so that'd be the least injured on the scale.
Can you tell us what crews are doing right now? We see them all kind of gathered around that front end there. What's that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So all the diesel that had been spilled out of the split tanks that are on the engine, we had dug the trenches like we talked about, so they're pumping the diesel both out of the standing diesel that's in the ground, in the trenches that we dug, and also out of the tanks that are leaking to stop any further leaks.
Is there any potential for places to be evacuated? Are people on standby, or is it pretty controlled?
I would say the incident's pretty controlled at this time. Diesel fuel is one of the loader categories flammable liquid, so we're not as concerned if it would be like gasoline. It makes us a little bit safer, a little bit more aware of how we can offload it in safer ways. So no evacuations are estimated for the upcoming operational period.
19 cars.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Donovan Long here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. If you are just now tuning in, wondering what is happening here, there's been a train derailment in Hartford. You're hearing from a spokesperson from law enforcement, presumably Hartford Fire and Rescue. This gentleman updating us about the fact that there's been, again, a train car derailment. He just updated the number of cars to 19 cars were derailed. We know 3 conductors were on board, all employed by Wisconsin Southern. We do know that there is a crew there kind of mitigating cleanup efforts as we speak. We know that diesel fuel was spilled. No evacuations from nearby businesses. We do know that the 3 conductors I mentioned who were a part of this derailment were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. In fact, the gentleman you just heard from, the spokesperson here from presumably Hartford Fire and Rescue, saying those 3 individuals are considered least injured, so they were able to walk away. So they will not be kind of having a long road to recovery at all, according to this gentleman. But again, crews are assessing the damage right now. Again, we do know that there was diesel fuel spilled. There were mitigation efforts to clean that up. And there are also crews there to figure out how this happened in the first place. We do have a crew on the scene here listening to this news conference, and she will have that report later for you later today, coming up on Fox 6 First at 4 o'clock here. We do know there is, we do know that there is another ongoing story we have been following that our crews are standing by for now. We know that our Aaron Mabin is on the ground following the story of a Milwaukee police officer who was shot and killed in the line of duty. That gentleman, Officer Quarter, was pronounced dead yesterday after being shot in the line of duty in an ambush-style attack, according to police, on Thursday. Aaron is with some community members kind of running down that angle for us in terms of how this community is choosing to remember Officer Quarter and reacting to his death. Aaron, I want to bring your audio up now. Good afternoon to you. What are you hearing from people on the ground there?
Hey there, Donovan. We're right outside of District 2 right now, where there is a growing memorial. You can see the squad car outside of D2 with a number of flowers here. There's a flag, balloons, all for fallen Milwaukee police officer Quarter. Just a few minutes ago, I noticed a young girl, other memory. I'm here with Kaylin Rendell, who's from the Franklin area. Kaylin, why do you want to be out here today?
I want to show support to our police community, as they do a lot for us, and it's a thankless job, and I think it is good to see all these people coming out and showing their support, and I wanted to come out and show my support.
When I see this car, there's so much that goes through my brain. When I see the flags, when I see the balloons, the flowers that you deliver, what's in your heart when you look at it?
I want to show support for the family and the team, as, like I said, police officering is it's a very thankless job, and a lot of people are getting hurt recently due to it, and I want to show my support, I want to show my love. I want what's best for these families and the people who knew him personally.
You're just 15 years old. Not a lot of teenagers are spending their this coming here. This must have really resonated with you, and I understand you have a family connection to law enforcement as well.
I do, and I just try to support the community. I mean, I'll say again, just policing is a thankless job, and a lot of people show their respect and support for them, and I wanted to maybe get some younger kids to also understand the importance of our police officers and how they protect us every day.
Before I let you go, when I see that young man falling off of this picture, there's a big smile, there's a bright future. What do you think of when you see him?
I think of somebody who was a person. He was his own being. He had a life, he had a family, he had people, he had friends, he had a job, he had all the stuff for him. I think that losing him was hard. And it's hard as losing anybody, but it's impactful on the community, it's impactful on his family, and I just see a person being lost, a whole individual.
That's all I needed. Kaylin, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I just wish you all the best. I was really touched when I saw you coming out here and delivering those, so I'll let you go.
Thank you.
and just wish you the best day. And I know your heart is with this officer. We're thinking of you as well, and his family too. So, Donovan, let me show you this squad out here. Let's give you a closer look at what has been delivered here. Again, this is outside of District 2 on Milwaukee's south side, kind of near the Bayview area. And just a few minutes ago, there's this American, ahead of this, above this flag, there's this American flag balloon. There's also this cross. We saw a woman and a young man just putting that on the top of this squad car here. Donovan, this is something that I've done too many times over the last 5-6 years, seeing scenes like this and talking to many community members who are just heartbroken. And what's really stood out to me, Donovan, is that a lot of people who are stopping here today did not know this officer. They didn't know him. There's no personal connection, but they just felt convicted. They felt it in their heart to be out here and to deliver flowers that are, blowing in the wind. And you can really feel emotion out here. I'm trying to stick with you a little bit longer to see if we can get someone else.
Sure.
But there's just a bit of emotion too. I do want to pull out an interview I got earlier with a friend of Officer Corder. We got it when we got out here. I'm pulling it up right now to just kind of give you some quotes, because we learned more about him today from a friend. Her name is Amanda. When we first got out here, she was visibly shaken, visibly emotional, and I said, "What are you feeling?" And she says, I'm reading, he was a good person all around. He wanted to dive into this work at such a young age. I asked him why. He was like, "I feel like it's my calling." That's what his friend shared with us. She also says it's very heartbreaking that this had to happen. He was way too young, and there's no reason for this senseless violence. She said, "I'm not okay with that." He was stopping all of that. Now he's not here to do that. So she said that she met Officer Corder. They were out one time, and he was going through the police academy. So this was about 6 years ago. And she was like, you sure you want to do this? And absolutely, he was sure he wanted to do it. I'm looking at my notes right now from their last conversation. Sure. And this is where was it? She said this right here. She asked him, "How do you sleep at night?" And he's like, "I don't sometimes." And I'm like, I can only imagine. But he still kept doing his job and kept loving it. We lost a hero. So that's just a little piece of an interview that I got out here earlier, just like you saw with this young woman who stopped over here. She was stopping. She was a friend of Officer Corder. I said, can you please speak with me? And she said she would. So we just got a little piece of him shared with us today. So an emotional interview, an emotional moment outside of this district, Donovan.
Aaron, I want to talk to you too about that. What you said resonated. I was listening to other interviews that our team got during the procession yesterday, and a large chunk of the people there, so that I was told and so that I heard, did not know Officer Corder, but they felt compelled to come and show their respect, show their support, and stand in solidarity with the other men and women who wear the uniform, who are right now grieving the sudden loss of Officer Corder, and that seems to be reflected with the interview you just had.
Absolutely, and you find in those processions, they let us know the route. They let us know when the route was going to kick off, where it was going to go, and that allowed people from the community to take to the streets, to come to the sidewalks and watch that fallen officer's body go from the hospital to the medical examiner's office. They also know that there's a squad here, and they can also remember someone they didn't even know. And we did see that on Saturday as well. Around 1:45 in the afternoon, there was another officer who was shot in this ambushed attack, named Officer Christopher McCrae. He was released from the hospital, and it was a huge showing of support. A number of people who were in law enforcement, but it also looked like to me that there were people who were not in law enforcement. They watched him be released from Frederick Hospital, this level 1 trauma center, to be released from the hospital, and then also, to be released from home too. So, this, as she said, is a very thankless job, and we see thanks in moments like this right here, unfortunately, where people are calling this officer a hero. But he did know, Donovan, he knew that he was loved, and he knew he was supported, because we have been hearing chatter from family members, also fellow officers too, that he was someone who just had a big spirit. And when you look at that picture, don't you see that? You can see he had a big spirit, a big smile, someone who cared about this community and was from this community, Donovan.
It just makes you wonder, when you see those pictures of the officer, especially the one with his $1 million smile. You know, you like to think that he had so many dreams, so many plans, not only for his family, but for himself and his fellow officers. It just makes you wonder, like, the life he could have lived beyond what we already know, and beyond the ways he already contributed to this society, Aaron.
And Donovan, what's interesting is I just think he was still a young officer, just 32
Yes.
years old, 6 years on the force. And he joined at a time when, you know, we know historically that numbers of law enforcement signing up, black officers, the numbers, black male officers, those numbers are always low. But he still wanted to serve this community, and he still wanted to be a part of this department, as this woman said, to make his community, to make his neighborhood, to make people feel safe too. So just so many people are resonating with that fallen officer. There's a man here. Let me just step and see if he's here to support that officer, if he has any words.
Absolutely.
Let me walk with
Of
him.
course.
Sir, are you here at all for this? Are you here at all for the officer who passed away? No? Okay. No. ¿Habla inglés? Ah, okay. Perdón. No. Okay. No. Sorry about that. We
No,
just wanted to, we're trying to
you're
stop
fine.
people as they come and go. So what that does is it allows us to have moments where not everyone is here for that, because this is something you have to think about too. This is still a working police department. This
Yes.
is still a police department where there are officers who are inside and they're helping the community. So we have people who are you know, paying tickets possibly. They need law enforcement help. So they're still working. So that's what we're seeing. The doors are still open here, and people who may not be here to support Officer Corder are still here too. So you really think about those officers, Donovan, who are inside, still working as they're mourning their brother in blue.
And Aaron, I know you need to go and continue news gathering, but I should note that the governor has ordered flags to be at half staff today. We also know, of course, that memorial behind you is going to continue to grow as the hours progress. Real quick, last thing for you. Have you heard from any police officers or anyone maybe not in uniform but off duty who've walked in and out of the building since you've been there? And I know there's a chance that they may not want to talk because it's such a fresh feeling that they're going through.
You know, maybe around 11:30, 11:45, we did see like a line of police officers standing right here on this walkway, just taking in this situation. We've also seen officers from other districts parking across the street and then walking to this squad and then literally touching the squad, taking a moment of silence and just taking in this too. When those officers were out on the sidewalk right here, we saw a few people come up and embrace them, giving them really, really big hugs. So they're here. They're not supposed to talk to the media right now, so we're not doing interviews with them. But we can feel their emotion. We know that they're thinking of their fallen brother. They're thinking of his family right now, while also holding on to one another and supporting one another right now, too.
Absolutely, Aaron. I got to tell you, for sure, thoughts and prayers are with the officer, that department, and really law enforcement everywhere. Never a right time to cover something like this, brother. Thank you so much for your reporting on the ground and everything that you're doing there. All righty. That was Aaron Mabin for us reporting. Of course, as I mentioned, the officer Corder and his family and his law enforcement family will be on a long journey to healing. We know that. We have yet to learn when Officer Corder's funeral will be. We expect to hopefully learn something like that later this week and as the days progress. In the meantime, as Aaron did mention earlier, Officer McCrae, Christopher McCrae, was also shot in line of duty along with Officer Corder on Thursday night in an ambush-style attack, according to investigators. We know he was released from Freighter Saturday. If you saw the video and the images that we have been broadcasting on our air and online, then you would notice that there was a huge sea of people there. A lot of people showing their love, their support, and not just officers either, but family, friends, supporters, and perhaps people who didn't even know the officer but wanted to come out and show their support. In the meantime, we will take a quick, short break in just a few minutes, but in the interim, please visit our Fox local mobile app to stay up to date on the latest news, weather, and everything else in between as we continue following one of the most tragic stories in our community. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I am Donovan Long in for Carl Deffenbaugh today. We are following a number of things happening around not only our community, but around the nation as well. One of them right now on Capitol Hill. I want to give you a live look at the White House for now. This is it in all of its glory. We know inside, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary for the Trump administration, is preparing to hold, or rather is holding, a briefing answering reporters' questions. Here she is. Let's go to get a live look into what's being discussed amid the Senate debating the president's big, beautiful bill, which is a very hot topic. We know that the president wants the bill on his desk by the 4th of July, but let's listen in to figure out where we're standing in the midst of that, as well as all of the politics happening around the nation.
After this year.
Again, I don't want to comment on the specifics of provisions, but I'm sure the president will speak on that directly. Again, this is an ongoing process. The president continues to be very much engaged with the leadership in both the Senate and the House to get this bill back to his desk.
Did the president ask for that provision? Because the National Building Trades Union is saying that it's the equivalent of terminating more than 1,000 Keystone XL pipeline projects. Is that something that would concern him?
Well, the president spoke on this yesterday in his interview, and he said he understands that legislators want to protect jobs in their communities and in their districts. And so he understands why some of them are against this provision, but he also understands why people want the provision. So again, this is an ongoing deliberation and discussion, and the president is engaged in this very much. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. We've been hearing from White House officials for weeks that you're close on trade deals with a number of countries. Can we get any update on which countries will have deals by the 9th and when there may be any announcements?
I'll let the president and the trade team speak on it.
Can you respond to the CBO estimate that the Senate bill would increase the deficit by nearly $3.3 trillion?
This is one of the most fiscally conservative pieces of legislation that has ever made its way through Capitol Hill. There's $2 trillion in mandatory savings in this bill, and not only that, the projected growth that this bill will bring to our economy. It will be an economic boom. The Council of Economic Advisors has an analysis that shows that the bill will generate $4.1 trillion in economic growth, and it will cut taxes, putting more money back into the American people's pockets. That's why this president wants this bill to pass, and I know he's busy working the phones and doing what he needs to do today to make it happen. So we'll see you all later. Thank you. We'll see you in Florida tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, if you're just now joining us, that was the White House Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt, giving a news briefing amid the Senate's debate over the president's big, beautiful tax bill. As you mentioned, opposers are saying this would increase the deficit by trillions of dollars. We do know the president wants this tax bill on his desk by July 4th, so the Senate is racing to get that done. We'll take you there, though, right now. This is a live view you're seeing of senators essentially debating different amendments as part of the big, beautiful bill. We do know that just a few minutes ago, according to the Associated Press, that Republicans have voted down Democratic amendments to strike portions of the bill that would reduce funding for rural hospitals, food stamps, and Medicaid. So you're seeing this actively play out in real time on Capitol Hill.
Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons.
You just heard from some of the lawmakers reading different
Ms. Cortez Masto.
Lawmakers and legislators' names as it relates
Mr.
to
Cotton.
this part of
Mr. Kramer.
the big, beautiful bill. And we'll listen in just for a little bit so you can get a
Mr.
real-time
Crapo.
view of what is going on
Mr.
here.
Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper,
All right, good evening, or rather, good afternoon, I should say, everyone. Welcome to the Wisconsin Live Desk. If you're just now joining us, we are taking a live view of the Senate, where members are right now debating the president's big, beautiful bill, or rather provisions of it. We do know that the president tweeted earlier on social media that the big, beautiful bill is moving along nicely, as he puts it. This is, of course, his key measure he touted when he was on the campaign trail, and we do know that this is something he is working with members of his party to bring to fruition. He wants this to reach his desk by this Friday, July 4th. It's pretty much, as Fox News reports, it's full of his campaign promises and second-term priorities on tax cuts, immigration, defense, energy, and the debt limit. We do know that the opposers, the Democrats on the other side of the aisle, saying that passing this is going to add trillions of dollars to the deficit. Republicans, by and large, mostly disagree with that and want this to be passed. We should note one senator, a senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, is one of the lawmakers standing in the way of the big, beautiful bill. He has issues with it that he has identified numerous times. But we do know that right now the president's big, beautiful bill includes tax cuts, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime pay, providing billions of dollars for border security, and codifying his controversial immigration crackdown. We've seen that play over time and time and again with protests in the streets of Los Angeles, like we've been seeing, or in Chicago, and even in Milwaukee as a response to his immigration crackdowns and ICE arrests. But this is being called the Voterama, of course, on the president's big, beautiful bill. It's in the Senate now, where it needs to pass in order to get to the president's big, beautiful bill. So this is something we will obviously continue following around the clock, because this is where all eyes on Capitol Hill are today. Again, the president wants this to be passed, or rather hopes to have it on his desk, by the July 4th holiday. All right, folks, so we will continue following that among so many other stories happening around our community, around the nation, and around the world. In the meantime, we will take a quick short break right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. If you're just now joining us, thank you so much. If you've been staying with us since about 12:30, we appreciate it. All right, folks, we'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Donovan Long here, time 1 o'clock, in for Carl Deffenbaugh, who you normally have this time of the afternoon here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We've been following a number of stories this afternoon, from politics to what's happening on Capitol Hill, where the Senate is debating the president's big, beautiful bill he hopes to have on his desk by the July 4th holiday. We've also been following some breaking news here locally out of Hartford for a train derailment that happened earlier this morning. Our crew on the ground reporting that 3 people were involved here who were injured, have minor injuries, non-life-threatening at all, but they are at the hospital getting treated for their wounds that they sustained when, according to Hartford Fire and Rescue, about 19 cars derailed. We do know that gasoline spilled from some of those train cars. That's being cleaned up right now. Crews are mitigating that as we speak. But our crew on the ground will have a live report later this afternoon at Fox 6 starting at 4 o'clock. Want to get to something else happening locally here, where there is an effort right now to essentially adopt a neighborhood. This is in the Arlington Heights area. You're kind of looking at the ground here, which may be fitting. This is one of the mayor's big highlights of the year, where he tries to beautify certain neighborhoods. This one in particular, the Arlington Heights neighborhood. We do know this is also an effort to increase public safety, strengthen community engagement. We know several speakers will be a part of this campaign, including, of course, Mayor Cavalier Johnson, as well as Police Chief Jeffrey Norman, and so many other dignitaries. But let's listen in as they prepare for a news conference about their expectations and their hope with Adopt a Neighborhood moving forward, if we can, for just a second here. All right, folks, well, we are waiting for the mayor to lead a news conference right now about his 2025 Adopt a Neighborhood initiative. This is a specific focus on the Arlington Heights neighborhood. So according to a spokesperson for the mayor's office, this is really a 12-week revitalization effort that will mobilize city departments, local organizations. This is all in an effort, of course, to improve public safety, kind of beautify this area and strengthen community engagement. We do know that Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman is expected to speak here, along with Mayor Johnson. We do know that the commissioner, a couple of commissioners are expected to speak, some of them from the Department of Public Works and the Department of Neighborhood Services. This is supposed to get started here, or was supposed to get started here at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Again, we are waiting. We've got crews in the background set up to really usher in this phase of the Milwaukee mayor's initiative. You see, crews are already hard at work right now, working on the roadways here, of course, in an effort to beautify this area, rectify any issues on the roadways that may be hindrance for drivers or bicyclists in this area, or other motorists, if you will. But this is part of the mayor's Adopt a Neighborhood initiative with a focus on Arlington Heights. We are just standing by for a news conference that the mayor will give in terms of how residents can improve public safety, along with city officials, city leaders, and aldermen and alderwomen. This is, of course, again, an effort to beautify this area and strengthen community engagement. And this is something that the mayor has been, as of late, unfortunately, really focused on, given the shootings of police. We know one of them proving deadly with respect to Officer Kendall Quarter, who died yesterday after being shot in what police are calling an ambush-style attack, which happened on Thursday. Officer Quarter was shot along with another Milwaukee police officer, Christopher McCray. We do know that Christopher McCray was released from the hospital on Saturday from Frederick. He had to have surgery, I believe, on his foot, but he is at home right now recovering. You got to imagine it's not just a physical recovery, but this is also a mental and emotional recovery that Officer McCray will have to go through, especially after seeing presumably Officer Quarter pass away and fight for his life in critical condition for several days since the shooting happened last Thursday. So I just bring that into focus because community engagement is such a large part of what the Milwaukee police are trying to focus on, as well as the mayor of Milwaukee. And so that's just kind of in the background of what else is going on in law enforcement's minds, in the mayor's mind. But if you're just now joining us here for the Wisconsin Live Desk, you're looking at the mayor's initiative called Adopt a Neighborhood. This is a specific area he wants to focus on, and it's the Arlington Heights area. We do know that we are awaiting a news conference about this. We do know that the Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman is expected to speak today, along with a couple of commissioners, an alderwoman, and of course the mayor. But we'll take a quick short break as crews prepare for this news conference. But thank you so much for joining us right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I am Donovan Long. We'll see you right back here on the other side.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Our time now is 1:10. We are just now coming in on a report we've been following that's happening across our country right now. The State Department is holding a news conference as we speak. This is Tammy Bruce. She is a spokesperson for the department. Let's listen in on a number of things that they're following as well here at the top of the hour.
Permanent residents and their accompanying immediate family members. We are grateful to our partners in the region, particularly Greece, Italy, and Cyprus, for welcoming U.S. citizens on these assisted departure flights, and to our partners in Qatar and around the world. It is a good thing to be able to say that today to you. I now welcome your questions. All right, yes, Humaira, not that you have anything ever on your mind. Let's do it.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yes, ma'am.
So, a couple of questions. One on Israel. Actually, I was going to ask about Syria, but I'll get to it later. So, Haaretz newspaper last week reported that Israel's military advocate general has ordered an investigation into possible war crimes over allegations that Israeli forces deliberately fired at Palestinian civilians near Gaza aid distribution sites. These are the ones that GHF does, as you know. And then today, Israeli military acknowledged that Palestinian civilians were harmed at these aid distribution centers. So I'm wondering, in light of these assessments, is the administration going to rethink allocating that money to GHF?
Well, I think the answer to that certainly is no. What we do expect, and the IDF and Israel have announced that they are, of course, investigating certain incidents. It is a good time for a reminder here that Hamas is responsible for the current situation in Gaza. They, of course, initiated the attacks on October 7th. They continue to refuse to lay down their arms or to free the remaining hostages, including the remains of 2 Americans, and use violence to interfere with aid deliveries to the people of Gaza who are in dire need of food and aid. So in the meantime, I think that we also have to recognize that, of course, this remains a war zone effectively. There are 4 sites working for the GHF. We are coming up to, I think, about 51 million meals distributed. It is certainly not easy. There are efforts in those on the ground who do not want this to be a success, who have made the lives of the people of Gaza miserable for decades now. And this is a key, unlocking a door to a better future. So this is what the president has asked for, which is a new approach for Gaza. There is a demand, understandably, for aid to get in. The GHF is doing that. And as we also, of course, decry loss of life and the violence that it continues, but that's why we do what we do, and we continue to work for a ceasefire as well.
Yeah, I understand all that. A quick follow-up on that. I completely understand what you're saying, but does the administration have any concern about this? I mean, these are like Israeli, these are Israeli authorities accepting that Palestinians have been harmed. Perhaps is the administration thinking about talking to GHF for risk mitigation?
Yes, I won't get into the details of the conversations that are had. Obviously, you know that our work there doesn't stop. We continue on. We're still working. The president noted the other day that there's potential for a ceasefire. We look forward to that. Clearly, it's been maybe a little over a week since American power and Donald Trump's leadership has changed the Middle East forever. So there's still more to do. We recognize that Israel is doing the appropriate thing with investigating certain allegations, and we certainly, like everyone else, will be watching that. And at the same time, we also know that there are people on the ground who want to disrupt and disturb the success of this because of the nature of this industrial complex that has allowed this to go on for decades. So we are working to get aid in, at the same time still working for that ceasefire, still hoping to make the difference for Gaza. And of course, I think our action and the issues with Iran speak to our commitment to changing the Middle East so people can live in peace. Andrea Mitchell.
Thank you so much. A related follow-up, acknowledging that obviously Hamas started this on October 7th and since, and broke the ceasefire and are still holding hostages. And some of us have not only witnessed the October 7th video, the IDF video, but the subsequent Nova video, which is profoundly disturbing. Acknowledging all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
How does the president's aspirations for a ceasefire, now that the landscape has been changed appreciably, how is that affected by the Israeli strikes in Gaza City today? How does he view any of that with alarm? Are there conversations with the government of Israel?
I would caution that with reports from the area, that we in fact honor the fact that there are investigations and to wait for actual facts. That I think will be very useful. Again, at the same time, we know the president has an excellent relationship with Bibi Netanyahu, that we in fact have made a commitment he has from the beginning of this administration to change that environment. And it's that commitment remains. Certainly, we know the story is that 51 million meals have been distributed through the region, through Gaza. We also know the president has called for new ideas. This is part of that. And the regional partners are acting on that as well. We know this can't continue. Israel is an ally of ours. We, of course, I'm not going to discuss or presume to know the conversations the president's having. That is his prerogative.
May I just clarify?
Yes, ma'am.
I may have been imprecise. I was not referring to any strikes on the age of food delivery.
If you are just now joining us on the Wisconsin Live Desk right now at 1:16, you're listening to a State Department briefing. This is Tammy Bruce, the spokesperson for the State Department. She is fielding questions from different reporters in the room, as you probably just heard from. A lot of what is going on in terms of the questioning has to do with the conflict between Israel and Iran, the ceasefire, and the airstrikes. And so she is updating us on the president's stance with respect to the conflicts in the Middle East. So we'll listen in again just to give you just an idea, if you were just now joining us, what is being discussed and unpacked here.
Hopefully get a ceasefire. President is optimistic, and so we will be as well. Right. Matt Lee maybe has a question.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I do. I do want to ask about Syria, but first I just want to get very, very briefly.
I might want to go on and on, Matt. I don't know.
How do you decide? Well, my question is going to be very, very brief.
Oh, all right. Yes,
How
sir.
do you decide when it's okay to speak about revoking someone's visa? Because for years and years and years, decades in fact, in covering this building, it's always the mantra has been visa records are confidential. Mm-hmm. And yet we have a situation where an entertainer in the UK has had his visa revoked very publicly by the Deputy Secretary of State in a tweet, retweeted by Secretary Rubio, and confirmed by other officials. So what's the deal with this law? Does it not really apply unless you want it to? Unless you don't want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, I can't speak to the decisions at the times of when to discuss something of this sort. What we do know is a very public dynamic with individuals. We have a very public policy and procedure and process now that we're discussing regarding national security and how we are handling the visa process. In this particular case, of course, what you're referring to is the tweet from our Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, that the State Department has revoked the U.S. visas for the members of the Bob Dylan band in light of their hateful tirade at Glastonbury, including leading the crowd in death chants. Foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country. Now, we've stated that when it comes to how we vet people, if they are going to be coming here to be helpful, to be nice people, to be great tourists, or if they're coming for other reasons, that every sovereign nation has a right to decide who's going to come to this country. So we've been public about that standard. And this was a very public event that violated, as you've seen from the Deputy Secretary's tweet, that very basic standard about the nature of who we want to let into the country. That's all right. It is important the American people support us taking care about who comes here. And I think his tweet and the Secretary's language and his approach on the policy speaks for itself.
Okay, so basically, if it's a public kind of facing thing, then
I didn't say that. I said in this case that's what has occurred. And I think that it's the policy certainly is clear for individuals, but when we're thinking about the nature of the policy itself that has been publicly discussed, they chose to do so this time.
And then just also very briefly on Syria, there is this, as you mentioned, the president's going to be signing this executive order
Correct.
Shortly in the next 10, 15
That's
minutes
right.
or so. Can you give us an idea what the State Department component of the impact of what this will do? What is state? Because I know it's Treasury and Commerce
Right.
all involved. So what happens at the State Department after this EO is signed?
Well, it is.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Want to bring you up to speed on something closer to home. We're looking at a live view of a news conference that the mayor is expected to have in Milwaukee. You just saw Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman hugging the other officers. They are all prepared to start a news conference about the mayor's Adopt a Neighborhood initiative. This is with respect to the Arlington Heights neighborhood. We do know that this is a way, according to the mayor's office, to improve public safety, beautify this area, and also strengthen community engagement. You know, this is being held, of course, amidst a very dark time for police officers and city leaders and really community members right now, where this community just lost an officer yesterday, Officer Quarter. Of course, police saying he was shot in the line of duty last Thursday in an ambush-style attack along with his partner, Officer Christopher McCrae. We do know Christopher McCrae is at home right now. He was released from Freighter over the weekend on Saturday. Police saying he had to have surgery on his foot after sustaining a gunshot wound there, presumably because he was, of course, involved in the officer-involved shooting on Thursday. But in any case, this is being held right now. You see a lot of the community members kind of corralling here, preparing for the mayor to speak. We can listen in just a little bit to get a sense of what the mood is like there as folks continue to rally in support of the mayor's agenda. Let's listen in really quickly here.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us as we kick off this year's Adopt a Neighborhood initiative here in the Arlington Heights neighborhood. Before we begin, I want to start by acknowledging something that's been weighing heavily on all of us. That's the tragic loss of one of our Milwaukee police officers who unfortunately died in the line of duty this past weekend. Now, as we're here to kick off this initiative, it's important to note that Officer Kendall Quarter, gave his life in service to our city, protecting these very neighborhoods that all of us care about. Now, although that tragic incident did not occur here in the Arlington Heights neighborhood, the pain is felt certainly all across Milwaukee and neighborhoods all across our city. Because the truth of the matter is that crime does not respect any particular boundaries. It doesn't respect aldermanic boundaries. It doesn't respect neighborhood boundaries, zip codes. It doesn't respect municipal boundaries either. It doesn't stop in any of those places. And the ripple effect of violence and instability are felt everywhere and felt by everyone. But that's why we're here today, not just to kick off the second year of this program, but also to continue to make a commitment. The Adopt a Neighborhood initiative is about more than just cleaning up lots or fixing potholes that need it. It's about building stronger, healthier, safer neighborhoods, more connected communities, and doing that block by block, doing it family by family, and really doing it neighbor by neighbor. It's about addressing root causes. It's about listening to our residents and creating the kind of neighborhoods where opportunities are able to grow, where children can play and thrive, and to do all those things without fear. That's what this program is about. So over the course of the next 12 weeks, Arlington Heights will receive a concentrated push, a concentrated effort from city departments, and not just city departments either, but our community partners as well. So you'll see improvements to public spaces, you'll see stepped up safety efforts, all hands on engagement from our teams, again, in the city as well as our community partners. But most importantly, we're here to work with people. We're here to work with people right here in this community, to listen, to learn, and to act. Because we know that creating lasting change, it takes more than simply just enforcing. We have to work with people. It takes investment, it takes presence, it takes partnership. And you've heard me talk about that ad nauseum at this point, but partnerships are how we make things go in Milwaukee. So whether it's filling a pothole, whether it's hosting a community conversation or shutting down illegal dumping, all this work matters. And when we do it together, not in isolation, but when we do all these things together in a partnership, that's what truly makes a difference in Arlington Heights and neighborhoods all across Milwaukee. So to the residents here in Arlington Heights, this is your neighborhood, and your voice is going to be central to this effort. And to everyone across Milwaukee, I want you to know that our city is best when all of us stand together, when we're unified, when we come together as neighbors, as friends, as family, as a community. Because we care about every neighborhood, not just simply the one that we call home ourselves. Now, the loss that we experienced this weekend is a stark reminder of what's really at stake. But I believe in the power of this city and the power of the residents who call Milwaukee home. I believe in the strength of our communities. And I believe that through efforts like Adopt a Neighborhood, we can build a safer and stronger Milwaukee, and we can do that for everyone that calls the city home. So again, we've got a number of great partners who have worked with us on this initiative here in Arlington Heights this year. None more so, I dare say, than the alderwoman of this district. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Alderwoman Malele Coggs, and I'd like to bring her to the mic now. So, Alderwoman Coggs.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As was mentioned, I am Alderwoman Malele A. Coggs. I have both the pleasure and the honor of representing the 6th Automatic District. You know, we are standing in a park that every week community organizers and volunteers give out food to those in need. We are standing in a park that has created a safe space for children to play, and it's community volunteers that help to keep it that way. This Adopt a Neighborhood initiative, I think, seeks to strengthen and support residents and organizations and folks that are already doing the work through the use of what we have access to, the city departments and all that we can touch to help to strengthen the neighborhood and to improve the quality of life for those that live here. It is the goal to revitalize and beautify public spaces and to increase public safety as well as people's quality of life. But most importantly, my hope is over these next 12 weeks that residents feel empowered through the work that we do alongside them and engaged. So that even when there is no Adopt a Neighborhood program going on, they feel empowered to pick up the phone and call us as partners at the city to help take care of the issues and bring our resources to bear that will help them address them. And I would also say this to any resident of Arlington Heights, that if there are issues that the city can help you with that you don't see us doing, please feel free to give us a call to let us know, because we are here to partner with you and to show exactly what's possible when we all work together shoulder to shoulder to help improve neighborhoods. And although Arlington Heights is the chosen neighborhood for this moment, hopefully the lessons learned and things that we do throughout these next several weeks will be ones that could be copied in neighborhoods throughout the city. And I look forward to this Adopt a Neighborhood program and the impact that it has for the residents who live here in Arlington Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Coggs. Again, continuing on with this theme of partnerships and working with various city departments, I'm now going to bring up the Chief of the Milwaukee Police Department, Jeffrey Norman.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the kind words that were spoken. Again, our thoughts and prayers out to Officer Corder's family and also to the MPD family. The Milwaukee Police Department is proud to be a partnership in this Adopt a Neighborhood initiative. This is the mayor's second year of doing this, and this is where the rubber meets the road of what collaboration looks like, how we have the respective resources come together to really have the collective effort to impact the safety and also other things, that is the quality of life issues within the neighborhood. I've always said this, the Milwaukee Police Department cannot do this alone when it comes to impacting neighborhoods, that if you want to have sustainable neighborhoods, it's through these collective efforts, through the different government resources, through the leadership of Alderwoman Cogg and also the mayor's office in regards to being able to bring all these resources together. So what does it look like for the Milwaukee Police Department in this particular effort? We want to walk with you. We want to work with you. We want to help build those particular community connections, whether it's a block watch, whether it's those type of, identifying issues within your neighborhood. We want to be here for you. I'm very familiar with the Arlington Heights neighborhood. Grew up around here, played basketball over here. So I know what the potential, I know what the energy that is in this particular community. The Milwaukee Police Department is happy to be a part of this effort, happy to be able to have the collective efficacy that all these government resources will bring to this area. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Chief. Next up is going to be the Commissioner of the Department of Neighborhood Services, Jezamil Arroyo Vega. Commissioner?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chief Norman. First, I would like to offer condolences on behalf of the entire Department of Neighborhood Services to the family and friends of Officer Kendall Corder, as well as to all the Milwaukee Police Department family. The department and officers has been steadfast colleagues to our department, so know that we stand with the Milwaukee Police Department during this difficult time. To Mayor Johnson, muchas gracias for the invitation to be here today. Just 6 blocks from here in the Arlington Heights neighborhood, we have deployed another set of cameras to catch illegal dumpers. Through these efforts, these highly mobile cameras can be relocated throughout the city, so we can target locations of frequent dumping. So far, we have issued several citations equaling tens of thousands of dollars, and most importantly, we've been catching those not playing a good neighbor role by contaminating the built environment of our communities. But DNS isn't here to talk just about the illegal dumping cameras. Adopt a Neighborhood provides a time to remind that Neighborhood Services, the department, is in service to the city and its residents through our revamped outreach and training division. First, in partnership with the Milwaukee Fire Department, we will go throughout the Arlington Heights to provide fire safety and smoke alarm education, while providing free smoke detectors to residents if they don't have operational ones. While we offer landlord training classes year-round and are available to all the landlords and prospective landlords, DNS will be hosting this highly effective one-day course to those who own rental properties in the Arlington Heights. Likewise, Rent to Success is a program we have created for tenants to educate them on their rights and responsibilities in renting residential properties. Both of these resources are available through our Department of Neighborhood Services website by looking under our program in our menu. Do know that DNS is redesigning our community training portfolio, including navigation and connection through the city's land management system, where the mission of continuing empowering our community leaders is a must. Of course, if residents of Arlington Heights or the entire city, for that matter, experience issues like garbage, blight, please assure to call 414-28-CITY or search Click for Action to use our web browser. Over the last year and a half, the Department of Public Works have been a great partner as well in working with DNS, particularly in the Raise and Revive program by addressing properties causing environmental blight. With that, I will turn the things over to Commissioner Kruschke to further discuss these efforts. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Gerald Kruschke, the Commissioner of Public Works, and thank you, Mayor Johnson, for your leadership in bringing this vision to life, and thank you to everyone who has joined us here today at Atkinson Park to launch Year 2 of Adopt a Neighborhood Initiative. This program brings together the full force of city services to uplift one neighborhood at a time, and this year we're proud to be investing in Arlington Heights. By concentrating our resources in one neighborhood at one time to make a visible, lasting difference. Instead of just working on different schedules, we're coordinating all of our services to work together so that change can really be seen and really felt. Over the next 12 weeks, you'll see DPW crews, you can see them now out here, around here with a bunch of yellow trucks, working hard right here in Arlington Heights. In fact, you already notice the work happening, like we have tree trimmers, we have painting lines right next to me to my right, we have flushing hydrants behind me, we have a nice brand new painted red fire hydrant right next to me as well. We'll be pruning trees, street sweeping, removing litter from public spaces, mowing boulevards, servicing and painting fire hydrants, as I mentioned, patching potholes, painting faded crosswalks, checking for abandoned and unregistered vehicles, and today we'll even begin the demolish of a blighted property through the Raise and Revive program. Immediately after the press conference, we'll take a short walk to a nearby home that will be torn down, a powerful symbol of what it means to reinvest in our neighborhoods. While DPW handles the demolition, I want to take a moment to thank our partners at the Department of Neighborhood Services for their critical role in the Raise and Revive program. They identify and clear the properties that are ready to be raised, and we couldn't do this without their diligence and coordination. This work is beautifying public spaces, improving safety, and eliminating blight, It isn't just about what gets done, it's about the impact into the community. A clean-up street and trimmed trees and freshly painted hydrants and these type of things restore pride in the community, dignity, and an opportunity to communicate with the public. DPW is committed to doing our part in uplifting the Arlington Heights neighborhood and delivering real results block by block. I'm proud to stand with Mayor Johnson and all of our city partners as we continue to move forward in this important work. I want to thank all of you, and I'm ready to go see some action in progress in just a little bit, but I think we have a couple more speakers. Thank you.
Just one, and then we'll be able to go ahead and do that after answering a question or two if folks have it. But representing the Office of Community Wellness and Safety, Quinn Taylor is going to come and give some remarks as well. We all know that public safety is not the responsibility solely of the police department. We need everybody to be active partners in making sure that our community is a safer place, and the Office of Community Wellness and Safety is a chief partner in that. So at this time, I'm going to welcome Quinn.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Quinn Taylor with the Office of Community Wellness and Safety. I want to start off by acknowledging our mayor, Cavalier Johnson, for his continued leadership and commitment to community wellness through initiatives like Adopt the Neighborhood initiative. Also want to thank Chief Norman and MPD for their work, for their continued commitment to serving the city and the people of Milwaukee. Thank you. This year's focus on Arlington Heights, located within our Promise Zone, is both timely and intentional. Arlington Heights is a vibrant community, but like many other areas in the city, it has experienced layered challenges of disinvestment, violence, and systemic neglect. Initiatives like this not only focus on beautification, they also focus on restoration, belonging, and collective responsibility. Community safety isn't just a law enforcement or the mayor's responsibility, it's all of ours collectively. At the Office of Community Wellness and Safety, we are proud to be an active partner in this initiative. Our team is here doing the work. We have our Promise Keepers and our critical response team that's already mobilized in the area, focusing on area cleanups, revitalization efforts, and also connecting residents to community resources. Adopt a Neighbor aligns with the Office of Community Wellness and Safety efforts such as Summer of Healing, an ongoing campaign to address trauma, promote peace, and invest in community-led healing spaces. Also, the Alert Neighbor program, which was birthed by Alderwoman Cox and fully instituted citywide through our mayor. These are standalone efforts that are pieces of a larger ecosystem. Thank you all. Let's try to get out the rain and get dry.
I know. That's what actually feels really nice.
All right, well, thank you so much, Quinn. I appreciate that. I don't know if anybody expected the rain. I will make note that the media went to get coverings for their cameras, but my staff did not bring me an umbrella. Just kidding. Oh, look at that. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I know it's raining. We want to carry on and see the demolition. But if there are a question or two, I'm happy to take one or two.
6 Milwaukee police officers have been killed in the span of 7 years. What can this do to keep officers safe?
Look, I think that there are a number of things that we have been doing and will continue to do. Again, I said at the top of my remarks here that all of us are thinking about Officer Corder. We also think about the officers that passed in the line of duty over the course of the last number of years. One of the critical questions here is about police staffing, and I continually point out the fact that in the budgets that I present to the Common Council every single year, we're working to make sure that we increase the opportunity to recruit police officers. Every budget has enough funding for 3 classes, 65 recruits in each class. That's the max that we possibly can produce out of Milwaukee. We greenlit a program. We greenlit a program to make sure that there were bonuses, signing bonuses for new police officers to come onto the Milwaukee Police Department. We created a lateral transfer program to increase more police officers. I signed off on a council amendment to the budget that would help us with social media to bring on more police officers to to the police department. The Fire and Police Commission in my administration, I have been so impressed with their work going out to numerous places across our community, working to recruit police officers. Really, again, though, it's not just on police. We should dispel that rumor, because it's not just an issue around police. It's an issue for all of us to take on. Not just the elected officials, not just police, but folks in our community and our neighborhoods too. That's why I call on them to do what they can in order to make sure that we're curbing violence. If there's somebody in your family that you know is out there doing stuff that's bad, they're doing dirt, they got guns and they're hurting folks, yeah, turn those folks in. You can do that anonymously. So there's a number of things, including at the state and federal level too. As you know, we don't control gun law at the local level, and I know there are a lot of folks out there that think that we have that power locally. We don't. We do not. It's a state level responsibility. It's a federal level responsibility. I would love to see more action, and I would challenge the media to do this as well. I would challenge the media to go to Madison and go to Washington, go to those representatives and ask them what they are doing to make the job of policing easier in the state of Wisconsin, to make it easier in communities like this all across the country. We need to see more of those actions, but collectively with all of our partners in the community and the police and otherwise, we'll continue to work to make sure that policing is a safer job.
A number of us earlier today were out at the memorial for Officer Porter at District 2. We saw people bringing coffee, we saw people bringing flowers. I mean, what does that say about our city in a very difficult time that so many people do show up?
Look, it gives me so much encouragement, and I'm very grateful for those citizens that stepped up to give some comfort to the police department and to those officers. The chief may be able to comment on this as well, but I can tell you from my experience, being in city service as an alderman and now as mayor, the people in this city, they value the police. People in Milwaukee, they want police. That's why they call them. That's why they expect them to show up. They value them, and they showed that in that time of need for District 2 and the police department generally. So as mayor, I'm eternally grateful for those citizens that stood up and that came to comfort our police officers that needed it in a time like this. I really, really am. Chief, you got anything you want to add to that?
Just want to say thank you. It's appreciative. These are tough times. I don't want to take away from what we're doing here. As we talk about in regards to what we can do to make policing safer cities, safer communities. These are things that we're doing right now in regards to putting together these collective efforts and being intentional about having environments that will also help sustain safety for us all.
All right, thank you, Chief. And you took the words right out of my mouth. It's efforts like this, building neighborhoods that are safer, that are stronger, that are better connected. That's another way, and a chief way of how we address public safety in Milwaukee. All right, with that, let's carry on. Thank you, guys.
Ben Alleman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk, 144 on your Monday here. This is an Adopt a Neighborhood event, but city leaders also addressing the death of Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder that happened, shot last Friday, died over the weekend, and obviously that's weighing on people's minds. So they're going to go demolish a house in this neighborhood now. This is a 12-week initiative where all these city departments kind of come together and they work on beautifying this one neighborhood. So this is the Arlington Heights neighborhood, which is south of Capitol, north of Keefe, goes over the 20th Street to the highway, which is about 9th. So that's the neighborhood northwest side of Milwaukee. As you can hear all the city neighborhoods talking about all the different things they're going to do to try and help this neighborhood out in this really focused effort here. They've been doing this each summer now, picking one new neighborhood and then tackling a bunch of issues all at once. So we'll keep watching this shot here as they're, again, going to walk over to a nearby house. You can see everybody got rained on a little bit as some showers are moving through the area. So we'll keep watching that. We're also following some breaking news out of Hartford. Live picture here. There's been a train derailment. Look at all of the mess. That is the front of the train, and there have been some people injured. So we do have a live picture from Hartford, and we do have some new news just coming in. We're going to get to that when we're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. When we return, we're going to bring you the latest from Hartford. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
What up, news nerds? 148 here on your Monday. Welcome to the Wisconsin Live Desk. If this is your first rodeo, well, this is the room where we will take anything that's happening live and we'll bring it to you exclusively here on your Fox local app. So the last few minutes here have gotten pretty busy here from the Wisconsin Live Desk because we have new feeds coming into the newsroom. But I got to get you out to the big news of the day that's coming out of Hartford. As look at this mess. This is from the lens of Eddie Poser, our photojournalist. Eddie has actually been basically everywhere in the last few days as he is zooming in here. All right, we've just gotten some new information as Christina Van Zalst and Eddie are out there in Hartford. That is a Wisconsin Southern train that derailed, and I have seen a lot of derailments. Wow, this is incredible to see the pile up towards the front of the train right here. According to the Hartford Police Department, new information for you, 17 cars have derailed. One diesel tank has been compromised, is in that pile, and is leaking fuel. So they've upgraded this to a critical hazmat incident. Now, the police department says they do not believe there's any threat of an explosion or a fire, that it is stable, but it is going to take a couple of days to clean up. There were 3 people injured in this. We've learned they were not seriously injured, but they were transported to a local hospital. Not sure if all 3 were on the train. I would presume that. But look at the tracks as the weight of the train has just shifted the train tracks there. So you are seeing some of the crews that are responding here. A lot of times railroads, they have emergency response crews, both locally and then regionally, that will come in to clean up this giant mess here. So you're going to see them almost like a crime scene. First, they're going to try and stabilize everything, and then they're going to bring in all sorts of equipment to clean all of this up. They're going to light the place up with big giant lights, bring in heavy equipment that is probably already underway, even though this just happened around 8 in the morning. So again, 8 in the morning in Hartford on the train tracks there, and suddenly this train derails. So we're told no threat to the area as far as that diesel is concerned, but obviously the cleanup continues, and you can see they're kind of right now, there's been a lot of focus. Eddie's doing a great job on here, focus inside the cab of the locomotive on the front of this Wisconsin Southern train. And man, he's got the good lens out there because they're a ways back, but now I feel like I'm right up with this guy. As you can see, it looks like, yeah, you can see there are workers inside the locomotive as they are working maybe to try to stabilize some of the equipment that is on the train right now. Obviously, that is a very powerful engine used to hauling tons and tons of equipment. And there you can see, man, that is just such a big mess out there in Hartford. So we've got a crew out there. We got our drones about to fly overhead to really give us an eagle eye advantage of this. And when we have those new images, we will bring it to you live. But that is the latest out there in Hartford. Appreciate that, Eddie and Christina, for taking some time to be on the Wisconsin Live Desk to give us those images. Another thing we're watching right now, I don't know if you were just watching that press conference from the Milwaukee mayor and the police chief and some of the neighborhood services out there at the Adopt a Neighborhood event. They got rained on a little bit. And look at our camera. There's actually a little water. Now, there's not a lot of storms out there, but I will show you the radar right now. One little batch of rain moved right through Milwaukee. And you can see just with the humidity in the area, the weather experts have told us there is a chance of showers today from times, but it will be isolated. Let's see if I change the camera around, you might get a better idea as that's looking north. Here's from our modern camera. Oop, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Modern camera. Yeah, much better shot there of there. You could see the showers moving on through downtown, but really this is just limited again to that small area. Let's just go around the horn here on our cameras. Pretty good shot from our Estherbrook Park Tower camera. You can see most of the area is dry, but again, we do have just a couple of showers out there. moving their way on through. Here's our city camera again. Again, you can see the rain's already moved through this area. Just a quite little burst of rain. And you can see it there on our camera there. So we'll keep watching this as well here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. As again, the radar, just a few showers. It looks like right at the northern Milwaukee County, they strengthened right as it moved offshore. And now these showers are mostly off over Lake Michigan. But again, according to the weather experts, there is a chance for some more storms throughout the day. So we'll keep watching that as well. Okay, we got a special interview coming up in about 5 minutes here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's going to have to deal with something I've never done, I've never attempted to do. We're going to have a triathlete join us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but not just any triathlete. A triathlete who's really making his mark at an older age. The senior games are coming up. It's national competition, and a former Milwaukee educator is one guy who has always competed in these events, and he's just earned a national award because of all of his efforts and really his spirit. So we'll talk to him coming up in about 5 minutes here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll also bring you any other live feeds that are happening. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Well, more Wisconsin Live Desk coming up.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
News nerds, unite. You're on the Live Desk. Hey, everybody. Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're getting close to 2 o'clock here from the FOX6 studios. It's been a jam-packed hour. You know the rules of this show. Basically, it's got to be live, and if we've got live feeds coming in, it comes into this room, and I've got the power to bring you really anywhere in Wisconsin, around the country, and the world, because we've had some international news of late. I'm going to show you some of the things we're following at this hour as we're approaching the 2 o'clock dial on the clock here. There is a busy day in the Senate as the big, beautiful bill is getting picked apart and voted upon in this, what they're calling a Voterama. And it's been really interesting as you can, see if you can pick out your favorite or least favorite many times senators on the floor. They've all been in here. As you can see, thumbs down. That's a double no from that senator there. They're voting piece by piece on the big, beautiful bill as President Trump has been trying to, he has set a deadline for the July 4th holiday, and the senators now, we'll see if it squeaks through the Senate and goes back to the House. But we've been watching this shot all day long. Interesting news coming out of Washington. A lot closer to home in the last few minutes here. You may have thought, hey, what's coming out of the sky right now? We do have some showers that are moving through just the Milwaukee area. Like, let me just show you. I mean, you see there, it's a lot of blue sky even in this shot. But look at the radar here. As we just had a press conference where the mayor said everybody was scrambling to get their rain gear for the cameras, and he was kind of joking that nobody got him an umbrella. But look at these little showers, just whoop, right through Milwaukee there. So according to the Fox 6 weather experts, there will be a chance of rain throughout the afternoon. We've got all this humidity, this tropical environment. Last night, obviously, we had some storms that moved through. And again, the weather experts won't be as widespread as last night, but there is the possibility for some rain as we've got all of the right conditions. It does feel like Florida finally around here in Wisconsin. But right now here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we've got a very special interview, and this is going to be a lot of fun because this is a guy that is doing something that I'm unable to do even though I'm half his age. He is a triathlete, a former educator for 30 years with the Milwaukee Public Schools and a coach, and now here in retirement, he is not slowing down. In fact, he's competing at the highest levels in the senior games. And I want to learn more about this, so I want to invite in John White here to the Wisconsin Live Desk as we're going to talk about a new honor he was just given. John, thanks for joining us here on the Live Desk.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Holman.
So tell me about this. You have just been named a Humana Game Changer. There are thousands of athletes about to compete at the senior games, and they've picked a handful of them, and you have been named one of them. Big congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What is a Humana Game Changer?
They could have picked, there are 12,000 registered athletes, and they recognized 10 of us. So that's pretty small.
What is a game changer? I mean, what did you do to kind of stand out of the crowd here a little bit? I think I've just picked up on your energy through the emails that we've had together, and I guess, quote unquote, being a senior doesn't slow you down at all.
Well, you have to make the commitment to training. Most of the athletes, triathletes, I mean, whether you bowl, swim, golf, pickleball, whatever, you normally develop a nutrition plan and you have to train. I was just thinking in regard to this right now, we're talking about the heat and what you're talking about, the weather. Over the last couple of days, it's been 90 plus.
You're right.
When you have to go outside and run when it's 90 degrees or more, it's very challenging. I've been biking in 90-degree heat for the last week or so, and you can't say, well, it's too hot. Well, it's not too hot because the national competition in Des Moines, Iowa is going to be, in the last couple of days, has been over 90 degrees. So when you get to a competition, you have to be ready for that temperature, which is 90 plus degrees. So even though you're a senior, if you're an athlete and you're competing, you have to train. It's interesting that we did a photo shoot, and this is two of the three pictures that they took out. Here I'm riding a bike, and then over on the right, I'm running. But I ran, I mean, those two pictures probably took an hour before it was good. It was a lot of fun.
You're happier moving than standing for a picture here. Tell me a little bit about yourself, because you do have an incredible background. You were an educator for 30 years in Milwaukee Public Schools and a coach. Where did you teach? What did you do?
Okay, I was thinking about this recently, and when I was in high school, I had teachers that said, you should be a teacher, you should be a teacher, you should be a teacher. And the teachers that told me that were math teachers. And they had became close personal friends, guided me through high school, encouraged me to go to college. I was fortunate enough to I had good grades as valedictorian in my class.
Wow.
I went to school locally here at Whitewater. I got there, I played football, and the coach really took me under his wing. After a couple years of playing football, I needed to do student teaching. And so I asked him, I said, I'm going to be really, really busy with student teaching and classes. I had jobs on the weekend in Milwaukee. I worked in the dorms at Whitewater. He says, I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't you just get on my coaching staff? It'll be a lot less rigorous. I said, that'd be great. He says, I'll even pay you. I said, you don't have to pay me. I volunteer, do anything. And so I coached my senior year. He asked me to come back, which I did. And while I coached for him for 2 years, I also worked on a master's degree. And when I got that, then I came back. I came to Milwaukee Public Schools. I wanted to teach mathematics. I taught that for a while. They said you can be a counselor. I had a master's degree, so I became a counselor. I wanted to be in athletics because of my athletic background. So very quickly, I became a vice principal, and the schools found out my athletic background, so I took over the athletic department. My first year I was at Washington, 1984, and one of the greatest accomplishments that I've been able to be exposed to was a guy by the name of Clyde Russ. He had a fantastic program at Washington High School, and he won the state tournament there in 1985, and I was part of it as being the vice principal and athletic director. And then I've worked at multiple other schools, and I've done a lot of other things. I started doing the triathlon. First I did swimming, but I wanted another challenge. A friend of mine said, "Hey, have you heard of triathlon?" I'm going like, "No, what's that?" He said, "Well, you swim and you bike and you run." I said, "What's that?" And he told me. I tried it. I was horrible. Just like if you did a triathlon tomorrow, you go like, "This is not for me."
I would die if I did a triathlon tomorrow.
Well, you and me both. I almost died, but I didn't. And I continued, and I would do anywhere from 3, 4, 5 a year. And I did that, I believe, for about 4 years. And then I joined the team here in Milwaukee area, and they asked me to run their team. So when I joined their team, there's about 20 people. We built that up to about, oh my goodness, a good 200 or so. And that was just fantastic. And that really kind of put me on the spot to helping people like yourself who really didn't know a lot about triathlon. So I was able to help many, many, many people.
Well, I'm just looking through your stats here. You have run now over 115 triathlons, 275 road races, and here we're about to go into the senior games. Tell me about those games. How did you hear about them? When did you become involved? And you've never missed one.
Correct. What I did is when I was competing, when I was under 50, a woman, a sweetheart, Agnes Reinhardt, says, "Hey, you ever hear about the Wisconsin Senior Olympics?" I said, "What's that?" She says, "You ought to do it." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, you got to be 50. I said, "Wait a minute. I'm not 50. No, you got the wrong guy." So I gave her a hard time, and she was a sweetheart, and she was a lot better than I was because I didn't train at all. So she said, "You know, you ought to buy a bike and train on it. You ought to run and get equipment," and which I did. Then I got to be as good as she was, and then I got even better. Then when I turned 50, before I turned 50, with my amateur triathlon team, I got people who were 50 and above to compete. And I said, "Okay, go ahead, compete." And it was after a couple years, she came to me and said, "You know what? I want you to take over being the event coordinator for Wisconsin Senior Olympics for triathlon."
Oh, wow. You went from not doing it to running the whole thing, huh?
Right, yeah. So when I was 50, I started competing. But before I was 50, I was helping her recruit athletes who are 50 and above to compete for Wisconsin Senior Olympics. And then I took over that event. Then she says, "Well, why don't you do the 5K as well?" So I took over that event. And then I helped other event coordinators in cycling and swimming, etc. And then the board president says, "You ought to be on the board." Well, at that time, I was running the amateur triathlon team. I just didn't have the time. And then I transitioned to an elite triathlon team. And that's a whole different story. That picture right there is me at Pittsburgh. And that was my second national senior games.
Do you have to qualify for the senior national games? You win your state and then move up? Is that how that works?
Correct. Just not Wisconsin, all 50 states. You compete in one of 20 different sports. You take first, second, and third, as you do in the Olympics. Then you qualify for the National Senior Games. And then it is the athlete's responsibility to provide their own transportation, flights, hotels, rental cars, etc. After I got on after I transitioned to running a sport, They asked me to be on the board. I was on the board for a couple years, and they asked me to be the president. I got to be the president, then went to the National Senior Game Board meetings representing Wisconsin, and a guy from Minnesota asked me to be the regional coordinator of all 8 states in our region: Iowa, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, etc. And then we built Wisconsin Senior Olympics. The numbers got to be huge because just not me. There are many other people, like I call them like-minded. We would go and get everybody and anybody. Can you swim, bike, run, pickleball, cornhole, whatever? And we would reel you in. And before you know it, the numbers are great. The numbers going to nationals were great. And then the National Senior Games asked me to sit on their national board. And the reason I bring that up is because there weren't that many athletes on the National Senior Board. So one of the things I asked them to do, if you go to the National Senior Games Board, I had the experience, but a lot of other people don't have the experience of traveling. So I would talk to athletes in Wisconsin and says, well, how are you going to get to New Mexico? I don't know. You going to drive? I don't know. You going to fly? I don't know. And so what the National Senior Games Board does now, you can go to their website, click on it, and there's a link there. And you can ask them for information on traveling, hotels. It's just fantastic.
There's more help there. I want to ask you, John, because as a guy who didn't like being called 50 at a time when you were under 50, now you're 74, and
Yes.
it just seems like you are going on strong. What message do you have for other seniors who maybe need some inspiration in their lives to get moving?
I thought about that recently, and the way we got around it when I got on the board and I started recruiting athletes was not the word senior.
Yeah, that scares a lot of people.
It scares some people. We connected senior with athlete. And if you put them together, people don't have a problem with that. Oh, you're a senior athlete? Oh, okay. You're a senior athlete. What's your sport? Swimming, golf, tennis, volleyball. We have 3 team sports in volleyball, softball, bowling, golf. And so a lot of people, 50 and above, they don't mind being associated with being called a senior athlete. Nobody wants to be called a senior, I guess, even if you're 90. Oh, you're 90 and you're a senior? Oh, my goodness, you must be old. We've gotten around it. Some other states struggle with that, but we didn't care. Well, we wanted you and what is your sport. And we have something for you. I don't care what you've ever done, because we got some people who just got off the couch. They didn't do anything.
And that's the important. There's so many studies that show, both physically and cognitively, as long as you're staying active, the benefits, they are so great, especially when you're hitting retirement age.
Yeah, it's interesting. One note I'd like to share with you is I've been blessed with good health, and I work at it, of course, and I've been very lucky. And I go in for physicals. I've been doing this every year since I was 50. I just went in for my physical, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is when they do that, and you're aware of this, they take some blood, and then they analyze it for cholesterol and prostate and all kinds of stuff. And one thing I just shared with my wife is I looked at the numbers, because they send you this on a report. This is really kind of great. And I looked at the numbers, and then I looked at what it was last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. My numbers in 2025 are as good, if not better, than they were in 2017.
Good for you. And a lot of that's
when
probably
you get
due
older,
for
you want to be healthy.
Yeah, you're training for these triathletes. Well, we wish you luck. Congratulations on being named the Humana Game Changer. It must be very special. I don't know how you took the news when you found out.
I was driving, and the guy interviewed me, and one of the things I put in it was I had done the triathlon is the most difficult sport that there is, and I had done it 11 times in a row already. That got his attention, and then we talked about training and how I did it, and ups and downs and different issues. And then, are you going to do it this year? Have you qualified this year? And I told him yes. My wife and I are going to Des Moines, Iowa again this year which happens to be, I believe, in about 4 weeks.
Yep.
So we're excited about going. Right now, if you've never trained for a triathlon, it is very challenging to swim. I just swam for over an hour before this Zoom call, and the difference, you say, what is the difference between being 74 and 54? What did I do 20 years ago that I'm not doing now? I'm competing now, but I don't go as hard as I go. I don't go as fast as I go or long as I go. And also in the sport of triathlon, you can do what they call brick training. You say, what is that?
Yeah, what is
you
that?
go for swimming like I did, and when you come out the pool, your bike's in the car. You get on your bike and you bike 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles. You can put your bike back in the car and then you go out for a run. I do that, but you really have to be careful because you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we need you to keep competing. We need you to keep inspiring us, and we really hope you good luck at the Senior Games. That Humana is sponsoring this, and obviously they're handing out Game Changer Awards to just a few people, and we are so proud that a guy from Milwaukee who has inspired so many at his time in Milwaukee Public Schools and with the athletic department, we really appreciate. We're proud of you. You're our hometown guy now. We hope you win it for us. So thanks for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Good luck.
Good luck in your future pursuit of being a triathlete.
Well, I might start at ping pong when I turn 50, and then maybe I'll work my way up to the triathlon.
You can do it.
I am taking this clip, and I'm going to save it whenever I have doubts. John White, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Man.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome interview there. We're going to have to follow up with him and see how he does out there in Iowa coming up, as he said, in about 4 weeks for that big triathlon. All right, here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, I've got some new feeds coming in, so we'll take those when we continue on our adventure here on your Monday afternoon. Thank you.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Haleman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thanks for joining us here on your Monday. How great was John White? That interview of a senior triathlete who is going to go to the Senior National Games in Iowa next month and is inspiring us all that if he can do it, we can do it too. I think with John standing by our side being our coach, I think we all could do it. So we wish him luck on his journey out in Iowa next month. I just want to show you some of the new feeds that are coming in. We've been watching the roads a little bit because we did have a few showers move through. It's kind of funny because some of these cameras were wet not that long ago, But it is just so hot and muggy out there that they have instantly evaporated, and the clouds, once again, it's blue skies here in Milwaukee. As we just look at the radar here, there was just those little band of showers that are moving through southern Milwaukee County, maybe northern Racine County right now, but that's pretty much it in the area. Although I will say there is a chance, according to the weather experts, of a pop-up rain shower, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon, as just all the conditions are right there, as it does really, again, it feels like Florida out there, doesn't it? One feed we are watching right now at this hour, it's coming in from Washington, D.C. What will happen with the big, beautiful bill from the Trump administration? Right now, a marathon vote is underway, a Voterama, as it's often referred to, as senators, right now, they're going piece by piece through the legislation. This already passed through the House, and now senators are trying to put their mark on it by changing the bill, and a lot of these changes are being voted on piece by piece. Now, the problem that a lot of people have with the bill is what will add to the deficit, according to projections from the nonpartisan budget office. The big, beautiful bill that was passed by the House, it's believed that would have a $3.3 trillion impact on the deficit over the next 10 years. And that is not sitting well with a lot of Senate Republicans who, obviously, they run on cutting the budget and having no deficit and thinking the deficit is a real issue that is going to come to a head at a point and could be actually dangerous for the country. So they've been trying to cut back on the bill. Democrats are saying with each cut back on the bill, and even the bill that was passed, that millions of people are going to get kicked off their health insurance. So all the Democrats are against it and have been from the beginning. What's interesting is the Republicans, that there are different factions and different wants and needs from different Republicans, and some of them are not happy, including Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, who has been a no on this. He is not happy with what it will do to the deficit. Is that Ron Johnson right there? Did I just say his name and did he walk out onto the floor? I can't tell. I just see a man with white hair. It could be Ron Johnson or it could be another senator. So, yes, they've been walking around. It's kind of interesting to see how the Senate works. Some of these guys sit in their chairs, reading their phones. Others go back to their chambers. They will come, they will leave. So we'll keep watching this here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Another shot we've got for you is coming out of New York City, the Diddy trial. The jury is deliberating in Diddy's sex trafficking trial as, here we go, another day of jury deliberations. 12 people are now deciding the fate of 55-year-old Sean Diddy Combs, that hip-hop mogul. He's facing 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, Sean Combs has pled not guilty, saying his lawyer saying he was in a loving relationship with all of his accusers, and these were all consensual acts. When we were talking about some of the things that came out of this trial, like the freak-offs and some of the other trials that obviously have been front page of the tabloids every single day that this trial has been occurring. But this is federal court in New York City, so we cannot get our cameras inside the building. But I always like to show everyone, do you see the reflection in the doors, those glass doors there? Do you see all the different tents? Those are all of the networks that have now been camped out outside of this federal courthouse now for weeks, and it's unknown when this will end. It's really in the hands of the jury to decide, will he be found guilty on all of these counts? Will he be found guilty on none of these counts? How long will it take them? Now, this was, in many trial standards, a pretty excessively long trial, so will the jurors take as long a time to come up with a decision as well? Are they going to go piece by piece through the evidence? We've got our eyes on that. There's also the train derailment in Hartford. Let's see, do I have that picture piled up right there? There it is. Southern Wisconsin Railroad that we've had some live pictures throughout the afternoon now on this, as 19 cars have derailed up in Hartford, and diesel fuel has been compromised, is spilling out of one of those tanks. Look at all the workers that are there. So right now, basically a mini city is forming around this train as members of Wisconsin Southern Railroad and their partners are working to secure this site. 3 people were injured, all minor injuries, but they were taken to the local hospital. As again, the locomotive is just kind of on its side there, as all the train cars have crumbled there behind it. So big train derailment. We're on the scene. We're working that, and we'll keep you updated as we go. Okay, we're running out of time here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, so I want to take another quick break.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Ben Haleman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're still following that train derailment in Hartford. I've got a new feed I just want to show you that's just popped up. This is a live picture from Jerusalem right now, as obviously tensions still high in the Middle East, as it does appear that ceasefire has held with Iran, but there's still concerns over all of the other factions that are fighting Israel right now, including what's happening in Gaza and Lebanon. So normal night, though, as you see the buses are running there in Jerusalem in the Middle East, as that is a live picture. Again, here from the Wisconsin Live Desk, we have access to feeds from around the world because obviously closer here to home, it's daylight and a beautiful day here in Wisconsin as another weekend of Summerfest has wrapped up. 2 of 3 are down, 1 more to go as that will start up again on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as 3 more days left. 6 of days down, 3 to go with Summerfest. Today would be perfect for Summerfest because it's feeling kind of like Summerfest with 86 degrees, chance of showers. We did have some little storms, and I wouldn't call them storms. I'll just call them rain showers, move through the Milwaukee area, and then look, as soon as they went over Lake Michigan, they kind of fizzled. There's still 1 little rain shower in northern Racine County right now. Do not be surprised if you get rained on, though, this afternoon, as with all the humidity and heat in the area, the weather experts do say there is the possibility of a shower out there on the road. Speaking of roads, just your normal traffic. This is just what the map's going to look like, not during rush hour. Now with our summer construction season is I-41 and I-43 north of Milwaukee and northwest of Milwaukee. Both have projects underway. So you can see there is some red on the map. We've been looking at the cameras. Everything looks pretty normal there. That is Brown Deer Road here close to the city, Rawson Avenue on the south side. Everything's pretty clear out there, but just know you're going to hit a little bit of red as you're trying to move north of Milwaukee here today. As you can see there in the Silver Spring, there is what happens when those lanes go down to 2 and there's trucks moving through. So a good shot of the construction right there. So just be aware of that's going to be an everyday kind of thing out here. We continue to follow this Voterama happening out in Washington. It's something that we will continue to follow throughout the day here on your live desk. So we'll keep watching the feeds for you. Wisconsin Live Desk, Fox Now, that's it, is coming up next. Hey, what's great about the Fox Local app, you can click in on all of these stories. You want to see what's happening in the Senate? Our team, our digital team, they're all over it. They're writing up stories as we speak about all of these things. We have a full story about what's going on in Hartford. We got full reports coming up on FOX6 News at 4, 5, and 6. And obviously, we're following the officer death as well. So we'll keep busy here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thanks for joining us.
Those firefighters earlier today who were killed. I want to lift up the audio here and listen in.
Unanimous consent that Senator Risch and I be permitted to speak for up to 1 minute each regarding the recent tragedy in our state.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate has important work to accomplish today.